Hello fans, it's me Dan, and yeah, well, I asked this question if there was anyone who wanted me to make a video tutorial for the personal website assignment, and apparently there is some interest in it, and yeah, let's just get started, I guess. Felicia, you're asking how to group HTML documents, like if you make a folder with recipes and one with CV, and how they would work together. Okay, that is actually not very complicated. It's all about how you organize your website. So let's try and get started. I know some of you guys are working in Notepad++. I'm sitting in Dreamweaver, but this code structure and the linking is the exact same thing. I'm just going to show you because Dreamweaver is a bit faster for me to type it, so it's not going to be these long videos. Alright? And again, Dreamweaver, the version I have is in Swedish. Sorry for that, but it's a correct version, and the CD key is linked to the language. So I'm going to try and translate it, okay, as we go on. So first things first, we're going to go to Files, and yeah, we choose the HTML document that we want, and we want it to be HTML5, and we hit Create. So this is the first page that we actually have in our new project. We haven't really saved anything or done anything to it yet, so let's try and save these documents as if there were actually content on them. So this one is our landing page. So we're going to save that as index.html. I have my folder with all the websites inside it, all the projects that I'm creating. So that would probably be a very good start. If you make a folder which is, all the projects related to the school. I've just named the websites inside a folder called Kia. And inside that one, we could probably just call this one Felicia, like that. And inside this folder, we're just gonna have our index page laying around like this, index.html. Hit save. Now you're asking, what about your CV and portfolio and all those things? So we're just gonna make a bunch of links inside our body here just to show you how this is actually working. So I'm gonna make an unordered list, and I'm gonna close it again. Inside this one, I'm gonna make lists like this. I'm just gonna copy them a bit. So this is CV, and this is portfolio, like this. And we have something called recipes, right? And we probably also have something extra. I don't really know what that will be. Now we need to make these list items to links, and the way we do that is using the ahref equals and then a value, and the value is actually the pattern where you want this link to send you to, and we'll just get back to that in a second. We're just creating the first link here. Now I know that I want my CV to link to my CV page. Makes sense. So if I go back here, this means browse. It's Swedish, sorry about that. And this is the power of Dreamweaver. It allows me to actually browse for a specific file. But I know inside my folder Felicia, I only have my index. I haven't created CV yet, so I can't really link to anything. So before I actually make this link, I need to create the cv.html. So we'll just wait a bit with that and create the links for all the other. So we just equal them nothing, no value. So even though they're linked, they don't really send you anywhere. So don't panic about that. We can try and test it afterwards. So I'm just making, oh, sorry about that. Like this. There you go. And I'm gonna try and inspect this page now in Chrome. So you can see I have my list, unordered list here with my list items, CV, portfolio, recipes, and extra. If I hit them, nothing really happens, and how I can see that is always up in the browser. I know that my destination is File, C, Users, Yang, Desktop, Kia, Websites, Felicia, Index, HTML. It's like these three are the important ones. Kia folder, inside the Kia folder I have the website folder, and inside that I have Felicia, and then it's finding my landing page, index.html. So actually, let's go ahead and create these pages, CV, portfolio, recipes, and extra, and how it's actually supposed to be. So we create new, HTML, we want it to be HTML5, hit create. This one we save as CV, cv.html. Keep it, small letters. It's a good thumb rule. Hit save, and we're gonna actually just save this as What else do we have? Portfolio. Hit save, and we're gonna save this as recipe, like this, and we're gonna save the last one as extra, like that. So now we have all our pages up here that we have been linking from this page. But if I go back to my original page, my HTML, my CV, portfolio, recipes, extra, they're not really linking me. I can still see that I'm on my landing page, index HTML. So I need to go in here and give it a value. See, now I can browse for the specific link that I want. And this is for the CV, so I double click this one. And I know that inside your Notepad++, you're not allowed to browse. You have to write this yourself. But since I'm putting the link for the CV in the same folder as my index, I don't really need, typically you see this. This means that you are going up one folder. So in case I saved my CV in a different folder, I would always use this tag, and then I'll start writing whatever folder that could be here. That could be like other website, and then a new folder called whatever Dan, and inside that I could have my cv.html. But that is not really good, because that is confusing, and we will be talking quite a lot later on. I know the teachers will be, about traditional web convention, and it's very important that you kind of think about how you're actually saving your files, images, etc., etc. They all need to be in the same root folder, because if someone had to go in there and review your code structure, you know, keep it as simple as possible. So if you have your other pages with the same landing page, that would kind of make sense, okay? You will create so many other folders when we start working with admin control, etc. But that is so fucking far from now, so we're not going to talk about that. So we're going to have our portfolio.html as well. You see, I don't really need to browse since I know it's inside the same folder. And our recipe.html, like this. And then we need our extra.html. Now, let's say that on our recipe website or recipe page, we actually have an image. Oh, let's just check if this is working. So I'm just gonna update this one, hit CV, and you can see now, of course, I don't have the list with me because I didn't copy it, so I can't really go back. But I know up in the browser that it changed to CV, so I'm just gonna go one back, check portfolio, that works, recipe, that works, and extra, that works. So now I know that these list items is working, and they are put as they are supposed to in regards to the folder. They are all in the same destination, so it's very easy for even me to figure it out. And again, this is something extra that we should think about in the future. There's something about the browser that the easier you make your destination, the easier search engines like Google, Yahoo, etc. is figuring out your website. If it's really complicated, like you have all your pages on different folders, different location, you know, you're gonna have a very long URL, which is not very nice because it's a bit complicated. Let's say that your website is a community website. You really want a lot of hits on your page. When people are accustomed to a page, they sometimes go directly to a browser and write in the specific page that they would go to. But if that's a really fucked up long URL, you know, then they're not going to be able to. Then they're going to do the traditional go to a website and, you know, click all these links until they get to your specific page. So, yeah, think about it, but don't too much, okay? It's something I know that the teacher will talk about later on. Yeah, well, let's go into our recipe page. And let's go in and add an image. So I use inside the body an image src, which is image source. I give it a value, or I search for a picture, and I really want an image. I'm just gonna try and see if I can find one. See, I have one here called Dan, but it's inside another folder, and I don't really want it to be there. I want inside the folder Felicia for my website. I want actually a folder called images, like this. So I know inside this folder I have all the images that is related to this project. Okay, I'm gonna cancel this one and I'm gonna look for it. I have the folder with the image here, so I'm gonna copy this image. I'm gonna go back to Felicia inside images, and I'm gonna paste it. I see. Whenever you are looking at your images, there's always an easy way to look at the dimension, because we are going to work a lot with dimensions. It's all about, you know, width and height when you're working with pages, because you need to specify dimensions all the time. You can see this is 100 times 101. So if I were to locate it on some specific spot on my page, you know, I don't really need to open this image in Photoshop, for example, and check, you know, what are the dimensions there. You can always just quickly look at it here. The same thing for what file it is. So we're gonna browse for this one inside images. We have it here. So now the destination folder is, you can see that it says image. So it goes into a folder image, and then this slash here, and then it looks for this one, dan.png. So let's try and update this, and inside recipes I have my image. This is how you're supposed to do it. I've seen a lot of different ways, but I've never seen them being approved, because I've been reviewing quite a lot of different websites, and there's always this thin red line through it. Like, you have your folder with your website, inside that you have all your pages related to it, and then you start having these subfolders as images, CSS, admin, etc. Okay, so what about the CSS then? Should that be in the same folder as your pages in here? I would probably say no, since you most likely are going to work with several CSS pages at some point. Probably not now, but at some point you are going to. So it's just, you know, have the source code in the root folder. Like, this is the source code, CV, extra index, portfolio, recipes, and anything that's being, you know, attached to your source codes, like images, JavaScript, PHP, when we come to that point, you know, have that in a separate folder. So inside this one, we're gonna have all our CSS like this. So I'm gonna archive, new, CSS, create, and this one we're just gonna save inside, and I'm used to call like the main CSS, like all the framework, all the basic layout, not the specific parts saying like this little menu. I always save that as the main CSS, like this. And you know about the link rel, so I don't really need to go into that. So this is actually a really good way of sorting out your website. I would probably say that, you know, I would approve like this, and I know that the teachers will as well. Okay, so this is a really good beginning, like this. Don't make another folder saying this is the HTML. That's just bullshit. Don't do that. Okay, we want to keep it as simple as possible for the URL. Okay, yeah, I hope that helped, Felicia. Take care.